Good morning, Northern New Mexico. You're listening to Live at Northern, your community radio show from Northern New Mexico College. I'm your host, Stephanie Montoya. And whether you're just tuning in or our returning listener, we just wanted to let you know our program is on every alternating Wednesday from 9:05 to 9:50 a.m. This is our time to share what's new at Northern, celebrate our students, faculty, and staff, and help the community get to know your local college. Today, we'll take some time to recognize Native American Heritage Month, share some exciting new developments with our College of Nursing's RN to BSN program, and some information about all of our nursing program offerings at Northern. Plus, we'll have a conversation with our community partners at NewMexicoWomen.org about the great work they're doing in collaboration with Northern. And last but not least, we'll do our always anticipated giveaway, so stay tuned. A lot to cover today, but before we dive into our other topics, a quick update on athletics. Coach Cordova has been on the road, so he's not co-hosting with me today because both teams are on their way to Denver to play Metro State University tonight at 7 p.m. And the Lady Eagles are on their way to Silver City to go up against Western today. Last week, the Eagles fought hard against Mid-American Christian University, scoring 75 points to MACU's 89, and the Lady Eagles went up against Eastern, score 62 to 73, both very close and engaging games if you've had a chance to come out. We're talking about to the last second, we've really got some great gameplay going there, so you'll have a chance to check out one of our future games because we'll be giving out a couple of tickets along with some other prizes at the end of our show, so stay tuned. The Eagles will return home this Saturday, November 23rd, to face Adams State at 7 p.m. And next Wednesday, November 27th, the Eagles will play New Mexico Highlands at 7 p.m. here at home. We wish all of our Northern student athletes and athletic staff safe travels and best of luck as they compete during these next couple of weeks. As many of you may know, November is Native American Heritage Month, and as residents of Northern New Mexico, we're all fortunate to share in community with the 8 Northern Pueblos, as well as the students, faculty, and staff who come to Northern from diverse Native backgrounds statewide and nationwide. Joining me today is the president of Northern's American Indian Student Organization, Michelle Javier, and joining me also is Northern's Director of Equity and Diversity, Dr. Patricia Trujillo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. Well, Michelle, I know you're busy this year. You're a student ambassador. You're the AISO president and a student on top of it. Why don't you share with our listeners where you're from, what you're studying, and why you chose Northern?
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here right now. So I'm from actually 3 different Northern Pueblos here. My father was from Taos Pueblo, Santa Clara Pueblo, and my mother was from Okewinge. I'm currently enrolled in the Bachelor's of Integrated Studies with the emphasis in psychology. And the reason I chose Northern is because this is my home. This is where I'm from. If I'm going to start a foundation for anything I want to do in my future, I want it to be from here.
I think that's really, important, and it's great that you speak to community and having this sense of place and representing from those 3 different Pueblo communities. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. So what is the American Indian Student Organization, and how does it help students?
Well, the organization is about bringing Native American students together and trying to help them better their future, and knowing that we do have opportunities that some students may, or some of the younger generation doesn't know that we have here.
So maybe you can name some of those opportunities. I know that there are scholarships and other types of things. What are some of the things that Native students can benefit from here at Northern?
One thing that I just recently learned about is there is a tuition fee waiver that each Pueblo is allowed to give one student every semester, which I'm hoping I can take advantage of.
I think you have
soon.
a few chances to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and I would also say that we have really great staff mentors as part of AISO. So I know that Rachel Begay, help me remember who the sponsors are.
It's Rachel Begay and Tony Atencio.
Tony Atencio. Yeah, I know that they're very consistent. They're really at the heart of the organization and supporting students, and so they do a lot of really great mentoring work that I know that I observe and participate in under their leadership.
Excellent. And I know that the Office of Equity and Diversity is very closely involved with the diverse student life organizations on campus. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Sure, yeah. So the Office of Equity and Diversity works with three pillars. So it's critical education, social justice, and beloved communities. And so absolutely our Northern Pueblos are our beloved communities that so many of our students hail from. And so anything that we can do to support. We like to bring in speakers, show films, have different kinds of events, but also support students and being able to host or bring events that they want to see on campus. So throughout the years, we've been able to, bring Native roots to campus. That was when Dr. Matthew Martinez was still here and was directing the American Indian Center. We've done many different films. We've had a lot of different speakers. And so we just really hope to continue to be able to support the Native community in that way.
So I'd like to ask both of you, what are some of the events or activities that you all have done in the past year? I know you mentioned a few of them, and what's planned for this year?
There have been events where we've shown films that have been produced and directed and include Native Americans throughout, not just in New Mexico, but the nation, which I think is really important. I think all indigenous communities across the world, around the world, are trying to make headway now, trying to show that we have so much to offer.
And I know you guys are always very engaged on campus. I see you out doing bake sales, raising money for, your organization in order to bring these opportunities to Northern. And I know that there have been things that have been done on campus, including inviting dance groups to kind of add that perspective to our events, because it is a very, important contribution that we have at Northern. So I know that one of the things that students ask about is, how can I get involved if I'm in school? What can I do to kind of improve my experience? And I guess as a student, what would you say to other students who are looking to get more involved in their school life and community?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to engage in conversations about anything that you want to talk about, or anything that you don't understand about what the college offers. If there's anything that you want to do in the future, I'm pretty sure that you can ask anyone on campus, because I love how the campus is small, so the community is more like a family.
I hear that a lot, and I agree. I agree with you on that. And I also wanted to just kind of touch on the fact that I know you're a veteran and you're involved with the Veteran Resource Center. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that experience on campus.
I've just recently learned about how the veterans programs are reaching out to Native American communities, because there's not a lot of veteran natives that know how many opportunities there are, how many programs there are to be helpful, and there's so many educational programs that are available that I'm also going to try to use in the future.
Yeah, I think it's important to just kind of find out and know about what's out there, and sometimes you just don't know everything that's out there. But Dr. Trujillo, is there anything else that you would like to say about any upcoming events or services that we offer at Northern?
Sure. And I'm sitting next to Michelle, and I want to make sure and give her a shout out, because Michelle's also a student in my class, and it's been really great to see her excel this semester and really emerge as a student leader, and also know how much she brings to the classroom. And so it's good I think of her as a student, but also like as this emerging colleague, because ISO, Equity and Diversity and Student Life are going to be co-sponsoring a celebration in honor of Native American Heritage Month. And, we're we had a really busy month of November and coming into Thanksgiving. So we're with our medias caídas a little because we're actually going to be on the outside of what is traditionally considered a Native American Heritage Month, which is November. But, we're here in the Norte, and so every month is Native American
we
Heritage
don't need
Month.
to restrict that to just one month. I know other
Yeah,
places,
exactly.
might do that, but we don't have
And
to
so
do that.
December 5th, we're going to be having a student meal. It's going to be a potluck in the newly renovated Student Success Center. We are going to have some family dancers from Okeowinge that's being organized by Richard Cedillo, our student life coordinator. We're going to have a meal together. We're going to have different kinds of music and potentially a film that we're trying to square away the details on right now. But everybody's invited. It really is just a time to come in and to really learn about the different types of Native American values that really guide a lot of the work that we're doing right now. And so we would really love to invite, our campus, community, but also the community at large.
Excellent. And we'll be sure to share details about that event on our social media and on our website when the time comes. But Michelle, I know that you have to get to class because you're also a diligent student on top of everything else. So thank you for taking the time to join us this morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's really fun.
Thanks. Well, if our listeners want to learn more about student life at Northern, including the American Indian Student Organization and opportunities, including scholarships and events specifically for Native students, please follow Northern's Office of Equity and Diversity on Facebook at OEDNNMC. Well, if you've ever injured yourself or had a loved one treated at a hospital or health clinic here in the Valley, chances are you've met some of Northern's graduates. Our accredited associate and bachelor programs in nursing have prepared hundreds of students for rewarding careers in healthcare. Today, we are going to share some information about both programs with our listeners and talk about some new ways in which Northern's Bachelor of Nursing program is becoming more accessible to the working nurse. Joining me today is Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences and Associate Professor of Nursing, Ellen Trabka, and RN to BSN alumnus and working nurse, Liliana Martinez. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ellen, I know that you've been with Northern's College of Nursing for many years. Can you talk a little bit about your academic and professional background and why you chose Northern?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having us here today to talk about our nursing programs. I've been at Northern since 2002. I've actually been a nurse for almost 35 years. Half of that time was in clinical practice in the Northeast and almost 18 years at Northern as a nurse educator. So I kind of fell into Northern. I was recruited in 2002 by President Sigfredo Maestas based on my credentials. They were looking for nurse educators, and I just kind of took a leap of faith and took the position as a nurse educator, actually starting as department chair. And here I am almost 18 years later. So it's really provided me with tremendous opportunities for professional growth, but also really to have an impact on the nursing students in the Valley and pass on knowledge to the next generation of nurses.
Well, it sounds like that recruiting experience stuck, so we're really, really glad that worked out. And Liliana, I know you're a notable alumnus of Northern's RN to BSN program, but also all of Northern's nursing programs. And now you're a working professional. So why don't you talk a little bit about your history at Northern and why you chose Northern?
Okay, in the early 90s, I returned back to Northern for my for my GED. And I attended the GED program after being a waitress for a long time in the community. Soon after getting my GED, I attended the CNA program offered at Northern. I became a home health aide and a nursing assistant and worked caring for my community, my family, friends, and loved ones, and returned back for the practical nurse program. 1 year later, I finished the associate's degree program and became an RN, started working for Presbyterian Espanola Hospital, and have been there ever since. It's just celebrated my 19-year anniversary there. Back in 2013, we had an initiative for all nurses to become bachelor educated, so I went back to school, and Ellen Trabka helped me secure funding for my first semesters through a nursing excellence grant that was offered. And I finished my degree program in 2016, graduated, and it's just changed my life.
Wow, it sounds like you've really taken advantage of the full range of offerings through Northern. So that's really great that you've been also staying in the community, serving your community for so many years. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Ellen, I know nursing is a large field, and there are many different degrees and certificates people can get to prepare for different careers. I think some people out there might be confused about what some of those offerings are. So can you talk about which degrees are offered at Northern, what the difference is, and what benefits come from each?
Sure. I think Liliana gave a great example of how you can enter the different levels of the nursing field as it benefits, your what's happening in your life. So we have this career ladder in nursing at Northern, starting with a 1-semester nurse aid program or CNA program. You can get certified at the state level. You can work in long-term care. You can be a nursing assistant in a hospital. You can apply to the associate degree nursing program. After 3 semesters, you can sit for your LPN licensure exam and work as a licensed practical nurse. Also, long-term care clinics are usual settings for LPNs. And then you can complete the 2-year program and get your associate degree in nursing, take your RN licensure exam, work as a registered nurse, and then go on to the RN to BSN program and get your baccalaureate degree in nursing. So we often see students kind of stepping in or stepping out of that career ladder. Sometimes life intervenes and you have to step out for a while. So it's nice that we have these exit and entry points so that you can work in different levels of nursing along the way.
So whether you've never taken a nursing course and you're interested in just starting a career, it sounds like Northern can help you with that. Or if you're already a working professional, have been working for many years, and you want to continue your education, then we can help there as well. So that's really great to have those multiple offerings. And I understand that both of the ADN and the RN to BSN programs are accredited. So what does that mean?
Yeah, national accreditation means that you've met national standards for nursing education, that your program and your college, every aspect of your program, your curriculum, your faculty, your college resources, financial, student services, physical resources, your program outcomes, that you have been evaluated by your peers. So we get evaluated by other nurse educators. And they've determined that you've met national standards for nursing education. So it's a standard of excellence, and both of our programs are accredited.
Yeah, I think that's really important, especially in a field like nursing, to really be able to show that the education you've received is up to par, especially with national standards, and then being able to work at any hospital or healthcare institution really across the country if you have those credentials. I want to focus in particular, though, on Northern's RN to BSN program, which is the bachelor's degree for nursing, correct?
Correct.
I understand that the program has recently undergone some changes to meet the needs of working nurses. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have an RN to BSN program. So after you get your registered nurse license, you go back to get your baccalaureate degree, and it's mostly an upper division program. And we have we offer different subjects, so we kind of expand on the knowledge base that you learn in your associate degree. For the last 10, 12 years, we've been a fully face-to-face program, which is hard to sustain in a small rural community without a large population base. These students are working nurses. They're RNs. They're employed, often working night shift, weekends, holidays. And so scheduling time to come to class is often difficult. The majority of our RN to BSN programs nationwide are online, so that students can choose when they want to do their coursework. So we've been gradually moving towards a fully online program. We've developed standards at the college to ensure that all courses are developed and meet quality standards, that faculty are prepared and credentialed to teach in an online program. And effective spring semester 2020, all of the upper division nursing courses in the RN to BSN will be fully online.
That's excellent. And so I know that, for somebody who's already in the industry, working full time, that would be really helpful. So do students still need to log in at scheduled times, like a regular class?
In general, no. Most of the coursework is done asynchronous, meaning you're not online at the same time as the other students and the instructor. You could do a meeting at the same time. You could schedule a meeting using Zoom technology with your instructor, or you could meet with your group, your team to develop projects and presentations. But in general, work is done at your own pace. So if you're on the night shift and you're getting off at 7 a.m., you can do your coursework, or if you're getting off an evening shift, you can do your coursework at 2 a.m. You just have to complete the assignments, within a certain time frame. But it allows for a lot of flexibility of scheduling to meet the needs of the working nurse.
That's really excellent. And how long does the program typically take to complete?
Well, now that we're going to be fully online, we're in the process of rescheduling our courses, trying to offer some shorter courses like 8-week, 10-week courses, go through the summer. But in general, you can complete the program in about 2 years. But hopefully we'll shorten that up a little bit in the future.
So some flexible course delivery options, flexible scheduling options, and I know our program is also super affordable, and you can take advantage of it, while working locally, or also now that it's online, anywhere in the state.
Yes.
Really, so.
And I'd also just like to mention that our RN to BSN program is holistic, so we integrate a holistic nursing theory that integrates mind, body, spirit. So it's not your run-of-the-mill RN to BSN program. It really has a special niche, and those who are interested in holistic health care might be particularly interested in attending our program. I think Liliana could probably speak to that more.
Yeah, Liliana, I understand you went through the program in the last couple of years. So what makes Northern's program unique?
Well, as Ellen mentioned, it is a holistic integral nursing program, and it focuses more on alternative healing practices and self-care, which is something that most nursing programs don't emphasize. Self-care of the nurse and self-care of the student. And so with that, you learn to practice in your professional practice and your personal practice based on theories that demonstrate how we are all interconnected and how we have, it encourages more open-mindedness and more of like working together as nurses on a personal level, local, and then also collectively to try and promote the health not only of us but also like the universe. And so it's kind of hard to explain, but that's basically what I grabbed from the program.
Well, it sounds like that's really powerful, and I think most people think about nursing and they think someone who's working really hard, long hours, goes into the hospital, leaves the hospital, and that's it. But I know that you all really focus on community-based projects and on improving the overall health and well-being of, the community at Northern and the community as a whole. And I understand there are only a handful of these holistic RN to BSN programs here in the nation.
Yes, that's correct. So we are unique.
We're fortunate to have that, right here at our fingertips. And Liliana, the other day when we spoke, you mentioned that there's money available out there for working nurses who want to go back to school and get their degree, their RN to BSN degree.
Yes, Northern itself offers scholarships through the endowment program, and I was able to be blessed with 2 scholarships from Northern's endowment program each degree program that I attended. And so that was one of my main sources of funding. Also, Nursing Excellence through New Mexico Board of Nursing also gave me scholarship to help me pay for my expenses when I was in the program. As I mentioned earlier, Ellen helped me with the startup scholarship from Nursing Excellence for my first semesters. And also Presbyterian Espanola Hospital Auxiliary will help anybody going into a medical field. Doesn't have to be nursing. It can be any medical field. You just have to stop by their gift shop and pick up an application. Another place that helped me receive funding was Mano del Norte, and it focuses more on our Hispanic women here in the community and throughout New Mexico. Also, Presbyterian Pride and Pathways to Nursing, being that I'm a Presbyterian employee, they were able to help me with stipends, tuition reimbursement, and scholarships depending on my academics. And I can happily say that I was an A+ student, and so I received maximum benefit.
Excellent. Well, there are plenty of opportunities out there, it sounds like, for students to take advantage of starting a program, so money really shouldn't be an issue.
Stephanie, if I can just mention a new scholarship, El Centro Family Health has offering scholarships for any student going into any field related to health, even if you're a business major and you want to work in a healthcare clinic. This is a new scholarship, and so if you're interested, you could contact El Centro Family Health.
Certainly a comprehensive list there. We'll see if we can get those up on our website for people to explore. So one question, I guess, is why continue on to the bachelor's degree when you already have the associates and the RN license? What matters about that? Why is that important?
Well, healthcare is increasingly complex. Patients who are in the hospital are sick. They're on multiple medications. We have a lot of high-tech technology. We have patients with multiple medical problems interacting with multiple disciplines, neurology, cardiology. And so nurses need to develop competencies that allow them to function at their greatest capacity in that setting. So in the RN to BSN program, we emphasize things like research using evidence-based practice to inform your practice, or the latest research to inform your practice. We talk about community and global health. We look at different nursing theories, leadership, teaching. And there are also studies that show that patients taken care of by a nurse with a baccalaureate degree have better outcomes, better health outcomes. So that's kind of a growing body of knowledge. And then many hospitals who are trying to pursue excellence are requiring that their nurses get a bachelor's degree.
So it's certainly something that it sounds like the industry is moving toward, more nurses getting that level of credential.
Absolutely. It's a state and a national initiative to have 80% of the nursing workforce have a bachelor's degree by 2020. I don't think we're going to meet it, but there are multiple initiatives, state and nationwide, to achieve that goal.
And finally, what's the process to apply for either of the programs if students are interested?
It's fairly simple. You apply to Northern online, and then you declare nursing as your major, and you can have an appointment either by phone, email, in person with one of the nursing advisors. For the 2-year associate degree nursing program, it is application only. It's a very competitive admission process. You have to take several course prerequisites, do some standardized testing, meet certain GPA recommendations or requirements. For the RN to BSN program, basically you need an RN license. So if you have a registered nurse license, you pretty much are eligible for that program.
And Liliana, are you going to be continuing your education or career here in the future? It sounds like you like to go far, so I'm sure you're not done yet.
Oh, yes. I would love to get my master's degree and become a provider in my community as soon as possible. Right now I'm raising 3 young children, so it's still not in the works, but hopefully Northern will offer a master's degree soon, and I'll be front and center. Just want to mention the importance of the BSN degree for critical thinking and for pay increase and for practicing at the top of your scope and just doing all that you can as a nurse.
Well, Liliana, you're amazing. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of you. I certainly wish we had more time to talk about our wonderful nursing students, our faculty in the program. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Ellen Trabka, Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and notable alumnus Liliana Martinez.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if our listeners want to find out more, they can visit our website at www.nnmc.edu and click on Academics, then the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. You can also call our College of Nursing directly at 747-2209 or email Ellen at etrabka, that's ETRABKA @nnmc.edu. My next guests are working to improve the health and well-being of women and girls in northern New Mexico and across the state by creating opportunities, establishing partnerships, and setting priorities, collaborating with Northern and other community partners. Joining me today is Northern's own Director of Equity and Diversity and Associate Professor of English and Chicano Studies, Dr. Patricia Trujillo. You did hear from her earlier, but that is a more proper introduction. Dr. Trujillo serves on the boards of the Northern Rio Grande Heritage Area, NewMexicoWomen.org, the Lanel Foundation, and Tewa Women United. Joining me also is Carly Romero from NewMexicoWomen.org, a program and fund that works to advance opportunities for self-identified women and girls statewide so they can lead self-sufficient, healthy, and empowered lives. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Dr. Trujillo, I would like to start with you. What is Northern's Office of Equity and Diversity, and what does it do for students and for our community?
That's a big question,
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Just in a nutshell.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we work around three pillars: social justice, critical education, and beloved community. We have an on-campus focus and an off-campus focus, and really we're a program that works across the entire campus. So with all of our academic programs, with all of our student success programs, and it's really to address all of those different issues. So in terms of building curriculum, for instance, one of the initiatives that we helped the Faculty Senate with was developing what we call our Cultural Sustainability Student Learning Outcome. And what that means is that every student who graduates from Northern is going to be measured on a rubric in 4 different areas. So like it includes intersectionality of identities, understanding that there is a spectrum throughout history and in contemporary societies from cultural destruction to cultural humility, and understanding that we make decisions on that spectrum all the time. We also have an outcome that says that we should respect and recognize the distinct cultures of Northern New Mexico. And so for me and the office is we're constantly trying to support faculty members in their classroom to be able to do different kinds of lessons, build curriculum around that, and then also to host events to make sure that our students are coming in contact with some of the great thinkers from our local communities, but also throughout the state and nationwide. So we often do lecture series, we do film series, and we really want to be an agent in our community of creating critical dialogue. So we have a lot of issues in our community, and oftentimes they're not always comfortable, but really a big part of our charge is to create space for having those difficult dialogues so that we can really be part of the healing that is so necessary in our communities.
Thank you, Dr. Trujillo. And Carly, if our listeners are not familiar with NewMexicoWomen.org, can you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, so I'll just repeat our mission, actually. We're a program and fund that works to advance opportunities for self-identified women and girls statewide so they can lead self-sufficient, healthy, and empowered lives. And we started in around 2012. And we do this in a few ways through educating, leading, and investing. So that translates into grant making that we do to support women and girls serving communities with a focus on women and girls of color, as well as women and girls in low-income and rural communities here throughout the state of New Mexico. We are the only fund that specifically centers women and girls of color with an intersectional lens, which Dr. Trujillo spoke about just a minute ago. We also do education and training. So we, for example, will offer anti-oppression trainings to the community at large, as well as to our donors who may be experiencing different dynamics of privilege and oppression, and to help them understand how to really support communities in New Mexico and redistribute wealth in a meaningful way. And then we also offer capacity building training. So we partnered with Northern last year, along with the Health Equity Partnership and Chainbreakers Collective, to host a fundraising training with GIFT, which is the Grassroots Institute for fundraising.
That was amazing. We had over 150 organizations from across the state come together, and I'll just be at other random meetings and I hear people still talking about gifts, so I just want to give it a shout out.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to Northern New Mexico, because they actually generously hosted that training in their facilities, which really enabled us to have a larger impact and invite a larger number of people in, and then also bring a lot of the New Mexican community to Espanola, as opposed to centering Albuquerque or Santa Fe, the places that often we gather around. So that was a really beautiful experience. And that kind of, the purpose of that training was to sort of teach decolonial ways of fundraising and more liberating ways of working with philanthropy and working with donors and working with fundraising for
And
community
it's also
members.
really important because it helped us to walk our talk, right? Because when you bring a conference like that where you have 150 people coming and staying in the community, spending money at restaurants, is that it's also part of our economic development. So when you think about the Grassroots Institute for Fundraising and Training, is that to host it in Española, to me, I thought was a big moment for a lot of our organizations also to come and see what we all have to offer. The one thing I remember about that training that's so significant is that most nonprofit organizations in the state of New Mexico operate with a budget of less than $100,000. And so what a lot of that conversation was about is that, I always call it the stone soup, right? Like, I'll bring the stone, you bring the carrots, somebody can bring some celery, and together we'll make a stew that can feed everybody.
Well, that definitely sounds like you all have hit the ground running and really offered a wide range of services to our community and really to uplift our community, especially here in Northern New Mexico. But I understand in particular that Northern New Mexico College has partnered with NewMexicoWomen.org and some other community-based organizations to create a women's council. What is this initiative and why is it important?
Sure. So the Women's Council, the Rio Arriba Concilio de las Mujeres, or the Women's Council, was actually grant funded through a NewMexicoWomen.org Healing and Gender Justice grant. And it has been funded for 2 years. We're going into our third. And really the whole premise when I wrote it through the Office of Equity and Diversity was that we have a lot of brilliant, hardworking women in our community, but we don't often see those women in leadership positions. We also have a lot of issues in our community that we know that we have to deal with, so on kind of systemic levels. And so it was what would happen if we brought women together. We did some common reading so we could have a shared vocabulary so that we could start identifying and being the solution bearers for our own problems. And for me, I really learned a lot from NewMexicoWomen.org because part of the way that I framed that grant that I wrote was to include something called flow funding. And it's this concept in philanthropy, not just here in New Mexico, but throughout the world, is if you give money to women, the impact of a smaller amount of money actually has greater impact on the community because women are often the ones who, like in terms of household incomes, can make $100 work to feed a family for 2 weeks, right? There's different ways that our ingenuity can put that money to work. And so the theory behind gender-based flow funding is that it also, if you flow fund like mini grants or sub grants to women in the community, that they can also do that kind of powerful systemic work that often is probably not even recognized in a lot of the institutions that we work in.
And this program really fit within the scope of our gender justice and healing grants, which actually was derived from dialogues that I know Patricia helped facilitate throughout the state, which occurred with women and girls serving organizations throughout 2016, where community members really got to vocalize and share with us like what would be the most meaningful support that we could facilitate throughout the state for women and girls. So that one of the key themes that came out of that report, which is called Gender Justice and the Heart of Gender Justice, Intersectionality, Economic Security, and Health Equity, which can be found on our website, was that we really needed to focus on the intersection of health and well-being for women and girls and healing in our communities, which have experienced a lot of like oppression, colonialism, but then also like violence against women and girls at the intersection of gender justice. So it also needed to be gender-informed work and really centering work that really like centers women and girls. And so the Women's Council really fit inside that umbrella. Additionally, we've funded like Breath of My Heart Birthplace in the Española community, as well as Flowering Tree Permaculture.
I believe Tewa Women United
And Tewa
got
Women United,
an award also. And so it's also about bringing awareness to the work that women are doing in the community. So right now we are in the position of giving subgrants to the Women's Council. So women from all over Rio Arriba County applied and convened. We've been meeting with the same group and we're thinking very deliberately about how we want to expand in the future. But right now, it's been the same group of women. And but so we have done some of these subgrants. And so, for instance, Tana Abuda at the Espanola Fitness Center just put on a series of workshops called The Road to Better, and it's based on the teachings of Brene Brown. And so if you're not familiar with Brene Brown, she's a scholar who studies courage,
shame and vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly, vulnerability. All those words that we kind of shy away from, but really is trying to normalize them so that people can, hold what they need to and heal through it. And it was really powerful because we went into the fitness studio on a Saturday morning for a 3-hour workshop, and there were probably, maybe 4 or 5 women from the Women's Council, but then there were about 20 other women. So then it also speaks to like the calculus of this, how there's that exponential growth that when you inspire and fund, this was probably a $2,000 grant, but then it impacts 25 women. And those 25 women in that conversation started to get excited about how they could be energized and bring change to their community. And so, we left there feeling really good, but also having done the self-care, because it's that idea that we need to take care of ourselves so we can take care of our community and start seeing as our community as something to be cared for. And that's that whole concept of beloved community.
I really like how that fits in with our last segment about holistic care in the community. That was very, very synchronous and not at all planned. So that was really great. I know that we only have a little bit of time left, and this is obviously a very long, important dialogue that needs to be had in our community. But what are some of the challenges women and girls face here in northern New Mexico?
Do you want to take that?
Do you want to take that? I can speak to New Mexico as a whole. We have been in the top, in like the highest percentile for challenges for women and girls when you look at the states throughout New Mexico, both with economically and then experiencing sexual assault and domestic violence. So there's a lot of healing work to be done in our communities, and then a lot of opportunities to really invest in underinvested communities, particularly focusing on women and girls of color. We are a majority women of color state, and yet there are very few efforts that intentionally support, I think, women and girls of color, and not just including the Hispanic and Native communities, but also including African American and refugee communities throughout the state, because we do have this sort of tricultural myth. So it's really important to
explode it.
Yeah, explode it, and be attuned to other things that are happening. One of the things that we are doing at NMWO to mitigate that is a new initiative around specifically funding adolescent girls of color, so ages 10 to 21. We just distributed a grant cycle to organizations throughout the state that are doing initiatives to really support adolescent girls of color around organizing and leadership and vocalizing their needs and their lived experiences to political leaders, as well as supporting them with sort of self-care, self-sufficiency, and empowerment, different empowerment tools.
And a big part of that initiative is going to be, I believe, a phase 2, phase 3 of actually providing grants to the young women themselves to be able to decide how they want to spend money in their communities. So for me, that's an exciting part that's really innovative, trusting youth to know what some of the answers are in our communities and letting them lead and take the way is really important.
And also turning like philanthropy on its head in a way, because if you think about it, adolescent girls of color are probably the least resourced peoples, right, in our state, and then to flip it around so that they're actually choosing where resources are distributed. We're hoping that that'll make some great impacts.
Well, you all are certainly passionate about the work that you're doing. You're doing some great work. If our listeners want to get involved with any of these programs or learn more, what can they do?
They can go to our website, newmexicowomen.org. That's New Mexico spelled out. And they can sign up for our newsletter. That's probably the best way to stay attuned to upcoming opportunities, and then also just to stay on board with the work we do. You can also become a donor. also found on our website at newmexicowomen.org, or follow us on Facebook. We do have some social media campaigns around really sort of dismantling patriarchal conversations and uplifting women and girls around the state. So we have an Instagram handle that is NM Women and Girls, and then our Facebook is just newmexicowomen.org.
Yeah. And to make a local connection, we were just having a conversation earlier this week, so we're hammering out the details. But newmexicowomen.org and the Office of Equity and Diversity, other organizations are gearing up to really support an initiative that was started by Michelle Martinez, a counselor at Espanola Valley High School, to do a Girl Power Summit for girls grades 7 through 9 this March. And so I'm sure we'll be hearing more of that soon. So also, if you want to go to Facebook for the Office of Equity and Diversity, we're facebook.com/NNMCOED. We'll be posting information there, but our contact information is there because if you want to get involved in our planning committee or you would like to make a donation to that Girl Power Summit, we would be happy to put your money to good use.
Well, thank you for joining us, Carly Romero from NewMexicoWomen.org and Dr. Patricia Trujillo with Northern's Office of Equity and Diversity. I'm sure there will be more to share in the near future about all the good work you're doing, especially in collaboration with the community here in the Valley. Well, the time has come. We have time for just one quick giveaway, but we're going to do things a little bit differently this time just because we had so much great content to cover today that we're running a little bit short on time. So there is a post on our Facebook right now announcing the Live at Northern program. We have a Northern Eagles t-shirt to give away. It's a medium, but it runs large, and a pack of tickets for any Eagles home game. And so if you go to that Facebook post and you answer the question, what is the academic program we talked about today that is offering all online classes? If you can name that program as a reply on our Facebook post about Live at Northern, you're the winner. If you're the first one, you're the winner of that prize. And then just briefly, we do have a couple of quick announcements. Registration for spring semester is now open. Our spring class schedule is available online. You must apply and be admitted as a student before you can register, and classes start January 21st. Call 747-2111 and our helpful advisors can help you through the process. The Espanola Valley Matanza is offering 5 $1,000 scholarships for students attending Northern for the spring semester. The application deadline is November, end of the month. For more information, visit nnmc.edu and check under news on the homepage. And Northern's College of Education is also offering scholarships for aspiring teachers attending in the spring. The application deadline for that is this Friday, November 27th. Visit nnmc.edu and look under news for info on how to apply. And finally, the college will be closed from Wednesday, November 25th through Friday, November 27th in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. That's our show for today, but we'll be back on the air 2 Wednesdays from now, December 4th, with more from your Northern New Mexico College. In the meantime, you can find more news and events from us on Facebook at facebook.com/Northern New Mexico College. Follow us on Instagram and on Twitter, handle at Northern NNMC. Also visit our website at nnmc.edu or call 747-2111. Thanks for listening, and we wish you all a happy and safe Thanksgiving holiday. Gracias.